And what, I hear you saying that you can't guarantee it, and what I'm hearing is a lot of personal pronouns. You're an expert in electronic surveillance? I mean, you're venturing an opinion. I want to know what that opinion is based on.
I guess I'm not sure how to answer that question.
I didn't think you'd be able to either.
Well, I guess I'm not sure how to answer that question.
I didn't think you'd be able to either.
Well, I guess I'm not sure how to answer that question.
I didn't think you'd be able to either.
Well, I guess I'm not sure how to answer that question.
I didn't think you'd be able to either.
Well, I guess I'm not sure how to answer that question.
I didn't think you'd be able to either.
Well,
no, I'm not happy with this at all. If we can't find a technology and we're relying on a personal, non-experienced opinion, then why are we making a decision?
Okay. Wait a second. Benesch, could you please provide us with some requirements for executive session with I guess, for lack of better term, privacy and security of that? What is required?
I can't respond to what
I don't mean electronic part of it, but I mean
electronic part.
What
is required is that any executive session of a public body has to be confidential, and you have to take appropriate steps to make sure that it is confidential. I think that's what's being addressed here, is whether or not you can maintain the level of confidentiality and assurance that you have that confidentiality with an electronic connection.
I think with the technology available, that anybody could eavesdrop on us. What I would like to know is there a reasonable expectation of threat, and I would like to know from somebody who's more experienced with this than maybe our current staff.
well, just let me back up a minute. From a general point, I am an alternate airport security coordinator, so I've been through all of the airport security schools. I'm retired from the military. We dealt with secure communications equipment all the time. I can tell you that with the current technology that we're using, there's no public-private encryption keys involved at all. And so you're talking about a non-encrypted communication technology over the internet. By definition, that's just not a secure environment. Now, when you look at the basic procedures, it seems that, yes, there probably is a reasonable expectation, but due to the nature of the litigation that we're undergoing at this time, is the board comfortable with a reasonable, with using an unencrypted technology over the internet? Beyond that, you've got the human factors aspect. If we have a board member, Fred, who needs to have who requests to attend electronic executive session, I have no ability at all to warrant that Fred on the other end is alone in the room. He may be in a library, there may be people around him. There's just no way I can guarantee that. And so based on those kinds of considerations, all I'm saying is I can't guarantee that you're meeting your legislative requirement for confidentiality in an executive session.
Using that analogy, there's no way we can guarantee that level of security in this room. With something that I could go out and buy for less than $500, I could eavesdrop on everything said in this room from either the parking lot or the landing out here. So I find fallacy in your argument.
Well, I think one of the issues is when this board, we have people who are all individuals who I hope we're all here for the same purpose, which is for the betterment of the board. I would hope that a board member would not go to that degree to do something like that.
But anybody out here could.
The executive session, they aren't here.
They could sit in the parking lot, they could eavesdrop on everything we say in here with less than $500 worth of technology.
I guess that's the risk we have to run on that. But I think, Wayne, if we had
risk, and whoever participated in the disclosure is at risk. I think what was brought in, Mr. Gould, was that there's issues about confidentiality in the executive sessions, and almost verbatim statements are appearing in public out of executive session. So there's a legitimate concern about this, and that's what brought it in for discussion, and it's in here for discussion, that it was brought up before the strategy committee, executive committee, and to address that, and I think that's what it's here for. It's for discussion, and I don't think anybody's, there was a recommendation that came out of that committee.
Well, then that begs the question, is this about our lack of trust of each other? Is this about somebody on this board disclosing information that they should not have disclosed? Or is this actually about the technology, that somebody's eavesdropping on that, or we don't know who's really on the other end? Because again...
All three. All three.
Okay, then are we going to solve that?
I hope we can.
By limiting one form of access when there's so many other portals to getting the same information?
I think we're working at solving all three of the issues.
Mr. President?
Yes, sir.
I was very uncomfortable with the idea of broadcasting the executive sessions. When we talked about this, I was far more comfortable with electronic attendance of board members to the regular sessions. And as difficult as that is, I know Ron's tried it and I've tried it, as difficult as that is to participate, it at least allows us to participate, and it might be necessary on times to keep a quorum together in some cases. But the executive sessions, to me, the largest single flaw in that is to simply broadcast them, and we have no way of knowing who we're broadcasting them to, except that a member has called in and wants to participate in that. We don't know the environment they're in. It seems to me like the easiest hold to close is that one. We've never had an occasion where a member has to attend an executive session electronically, and so it appears like it's an unlikely event, and to not do it seems to be the easiest way to close that hole. My recommendation would be we only attend regular sessions electronically, and because if anything is disclosed from them, it is not a criminal offense, unlike the executive session.
Any other questions from the board?
It's just, I agree with Albert, but this is a change to the bylaws that we have to do or haven't done. And this board has to vote on it.
With the executive session board?
It's not lined out in
But we're doing a change theoretically to the bylaws, when if you read them, they are. We're limiting what we can do in electronic.
That's true. That's true. Right
I
now
would
it
like to
says
see a change to the
electronic
bylaws.
attendance.
I think we should. I think it's something that this board should approve.
Absolutely. If there is going to be a change, it should be approved. Something can be drafted and brought in for your consideration, if that's the choice of the board.
Is there a motion on the floor to,
I can't remember if we had that built in the action item or not.
I don't think it is. I think you're right. I think it is.
Kind of open.
I'd like to see it on next month.
Well, we need to put on next month's agenda then as an action item.
We will,
We have a draft done?
Yes, sir. If you're still directing me, we'll have a draft change to the meeting, to the bylaws for the next meeting for you to look at.
But you're gonna have it just to exclude the executive session.
Right, executive session.
I would, if the board please, I would also take the opportunity in the next couple of weeks to investigate further with other counsel for public bodies to see how they address these things, so I can bring back perhaps some more, a better knowledge, a better level of knowledge from experience from others.
Okay.
Since you're here, do you have a comment?
No, I have thoughts, but I'd rather talk with Wayne offline about it.
Thank you.